Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Porsche tax. We've all felt it. You walk into the service department for what should be a routine checkup. You grab a complimentary espresso, and 20 minutes later, a service advisor hands you an estimate for $3,000. You look at the line items: an oil change, a cabin filter, and maybe a brake flush. In any other world, those are basic tasks. In the Porsche world, they are treated like open heart surgery. But here is the secret that dealerships don't want you to know. Your Porsche is still a machine. A very finely tuned, highly engineered machine, yes, but it is held together by nuts, bolts, and fluids. The reason the dealership charges so much isn't just because the parts are expensive. It's because they are betting that you are too intimidated by the German engineering to pick up a wrench yourself. Today, we are going to change that. Owning a Porsche shouldn't mean being a slave to a service invoice. By investing in the right set of tools, you can perform 80% of your car's maintenance in your own driveway. In this video, I'm breaking down the essential toolkit every Porsche owner needs to save thousands of dollars. We aren't talking about generic tools you find at a local hardware store. We are talking about the precision instruments required to treat your car with the respect it deserves. If you've ever worked on an American or Japanese car, you're used to hex bolts and Phillips head screws. Porsche is a different world. To save weight and increase torque capacity, Porsche uses fasteners that will ruin a generic toolkit. The Torx and E-Torx revolution. First on our list is a comprehensive Torx bit set. From the T10 screws holding your interior trim to the T55 bolts securing your underbody trays, Torx is the language of Porsche. But don't just get the standard bits, you also need E-Torx sockets. These look like star-shaped sockets and are commonly found on seat rails, engine mounts, and suspension components. If you try to use a standard 10mm socket on an E10 bolt, you will round it off, and I promise you, drilling out a bolt in a Porsche engine bay is a nightmare you want to avoid. The triple square, also known as XZN. To the untrained eye, these look like Torx bits, but they have 12 points instead of 6. You'll find these on your axle bolts, door strikers, and certain flywheel components.
This is where most beginners fail. They use a Torx bit in a triple square hole. It feels like it fits, but the moment you apply pressure, it strips. A dedicated 10-piece triple square set is a non-negotiable part of your kit. The metric mastery. Of course, you need a high-quality metric socket set and 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, and 1/2 inch drives. But here's a pro tip. Focus on 6-point sockets rather than 12-point. 6-point sockets grip the flats of the bolt head, making it much less likely that you'll slip and damage the finish of the fastener. When you're working on a car where a single OEM bolt can cost $5, preservation is everything. If there is one tool you absolutely cannot go cheap on, it is the torque wrench. German engineering is built on specific tolerances. Because Porsche uses so much aluminum and magnesium in their engines and chassis, the margin for error is razor thin. Why torque matters. Steel bolts going into an aluminum engine block are a recipe for disaster if you hand tighten them. Over-tighten a spark plug and you could crack the cylinder head. Under-tighten a drain plug, and you're leaving a trail of expensive synthetic oil down the highway. The two-wrench system. You actually need 2 torque wrenches. One is a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch drive inch-pound wrench. This is for the delicate stuff: coil packs, oil filter housings, and interior components. These are often measured in Newton meters, so look for a wrench that has both scales. And a 2 is a 1/2 inch drive foot-pound wrench. This is for your wheel bolts and suspension. The center lock exception. And a quick note for the GT3, GTS, and Turbo S owners. If your car has center lock wheels, you need a specialized heavy-duty torque wrench capable of 600 Newton meters. These are essentially 4-foot-long bars. They are expensive, often costing $500 to $800, but considering a dealership charges $200 just to swap your tires, this tool pays for itself in just 4 wheel-offs. Porsches are low. That's great for the center of gravity, but terrible for maintenance. Most standard floor jacks simply won't fit under the side skirts of a 911 or a Cayman. The low-profile floor jack. You need a low-profile, long-reach hydraulic jack. Look for one with a minimum height of 3 inches or less. The long reach part is crucial because the jacking points on a Porsche are often further inboard than you'd expect. A short jack will have the handle hitting your bumper or side skirt before you can even get a full pump in.
Jack pad adapters. Don't crush your car. This is perhaps the most important $20 you will ever spend. Porsche jacking points are reinforced rectangular slots. If you put a raw metal jack cup against them, you will scrape off the undercoating, leading to rust, or worse, you'll bend the metal sill. Jack pad adapters are machined blocks of aluminum or hard rubber that slot into the car's frame. They create a perfectly flat surface, ensuring the weight of the car is distributed exactly where the engineers intended. The safety protocol. Never, ever work under a car supported only by a jack. Jacks fail. O-rings leak. If that car drops while you're under it, it's game over. However, Porsches are notorious for having very few places to put a jack stand once the jack is already occupying the lift point. The solution? Lift bars. These are specialized steel bars that connect the front and rear jacking points. You lift the bar from the middle, and then you place your jack stands at the ends of the bar. It's the safest, most stable way to get a Porsche in the air without a professional 4-post lift. In the old days, you could tune a car with a screwdriver and an ear for the engine. Today, you tune a Porsche with a laptop. Modern Porsches track everything from oil life to the number of times you've hit the rev limiter. Why a generic scanner isn't enough. You can buy a $20 OBD2 scanner at any auto parts store, and it will tell you why your check engine light is on, but it won't tell you why your PASM, active suspension, is acting up, and it certainly won't let you reset the service light. Porsche uses proprietary communication protocols. To talk to the car, you need a Porsche-specific tool. Option A, the handheld, Foxwell or iSoft. For the casual DIYer, a handheld unit like Foxwell NT530 with Porsche software is a lifesaver. It can retract the electronic parking brake, which you must do to change rear brake pads, register a new battery, and reset your oil maintenance interval. Option B, the Pro Choice, Durametric. This is a cable that links your car to your Windows laptop. It gives you dealer-level access. Want to see if the previous owner abused the car? The Durametric can pull an over-rev report, showing exactly how many seconds the engine spent at redline. It can also run output tests, meaning you can manually trigger the cooling fans or the fuel pump to see if they are working correctly. It is the single most powerful tool in the DIYer's arsenal. The most common maintenance task is the oil change. A dealership will charge you $400 for this. You can do it for $100 in parts, but you need 3 specific tools to make it clean and professional. 1. The 74mm 14-flute oil filter socket. Most modern Porsches use a cartridge-style filter inside a plastic housing. If you use a generic claw wrench, you will crack that plastic. You need the specific 74mm socket that fits the flutes of the housing. This allows you to use your torque wrench to tighten it back to the exact 25 Newton meters required to prevent leaks without overstressing the plastic. 2. The motive power bleeder. Brake fluid needs to be changed every 2 years. Most people skip this because bleeding brakes is a 2-person job that involves a lot of shouting and pumping the pedal.
The motive power bleeder turns this into a one-man job. It uses air pressure to push fresh fluid from the reservoir through the lines. It's faster, cleaner, and ensures there are zero air bubbles in your system. This tool pays for itself the very first time you use it. 3. Fluid transfer pump. The fill plugs for your transmission and differential are usually in spots that are impossible to reach with a bottle. You need a transfer pump. Whether it's a simple hand pump or a pressurized container, this allows you to pump gear oil or PDK fluid up into the transmission until it reaches the fill level. If you own a mid-engine Boxster or Cayman or a rear-engine 911, the engine is packaged very tightly. You aren't working in a cavernous engine bay, you're working in a jewelry box. Spark plug swivels. Changing spark plugs on a flat 6 is a rite of passage. There is very little clearance between the engine and the frame rails. A standard spark plug socket is too long. You need a thin-walled magnetic swivel socket. The swivel allows the tool to bend into the tight spaces, and the magnet ensures you don't drop a $20 spark plug into the abyss of the engine tin. Wheel hangers. This is a safety tool. Porsche uses lug bolts, not studs. When you take the bolts out, the wheel is free to fall off the hub. If you have a heavy 20-inch wheel, it can fall inward and hit your brake caliper or, heaven forbid, chip a carbon ceramic rotor. A stainless steel wheel hanger screws into one of the bolt holes and acts as a guide rail. You slide the wheel off the hanger safely, protecting your brakes and your back.
Let's look at the numbers. If you buy every tool I just mentioned, the high-end jack, the Durametric scanner, the torque wrenches, the specialized sockets, and the fluid pumps, you are looking at an investment of roughly $1,200 to $1,500. That sounds like a lot of money until you realize that a single 40,000-mile service at a Porsche dealership often costs $2,500 to $3,000. By buying the tools and doing the work yourself, you've not only paid for the tools in full after just one service, but you also have $1,000 left over for gas, tires, or your next road trip. More importantly, you have the peace of mind knowing the job was done correctly. No apprentice technician rushed your oil change to meet a quota. You cleaned the mating surfaces, you torqued every bolt to spec, and you inspected the car's undercarriage for future issues. Owning a Porsche should be about the joy of the drive, not the stress of the maintenance. When you own the tools, you own the experience. You no longer have to wonder if that clunk in the suspension is a $5,000 disaster or just a loose $10 drop link. You can slide under the car, plug in your scanner, and find out for yourself. Start small. Buy a good jack and the oil filter socket. Do your own oil change. Then, when you're comfortable, buy the power bleeder and do your brakes. Before you know it, you'll have a professional-grade garage and a Porsche that runs better than ever. Thanks for watching. If you found this guide helpful, hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments which tool you think is the most essential for your Porsche. Now, get out of the house, get into the garage, and keep those Porsches on the road.